how your native language shapes the way you learn a second language. Hello everyone, welcome to Chinese with Z. I'm Z. On this channel, we don't just learn vocabulary, we try to understand how languages actually work underneath the surface. And today, we are starting with one of the biggest hidden influence in language learning, the structure of your first language. Many people think learning a language is mainly about memorizing words, but very often the real challenge is that we keep using the logic of our native language when we speak another one. That's why sometimes what we say is technically correct, but still sounds slightly unnatural. To understand why this happens, let's start with the most important part of language, verbs. If you look closely, the most common verbs in Chinese, English, or even Spanish actually express very similar core ideas. To be, to have, to do, to go, and to say. So across cultures, humans describe the word using very similar basic concepts. But once these verbs are used in real sentence, languages begin to move in very different directions. In many European languages, verbs change depending on who is doing the action and when the action happens. This is called verb conjugation. A verb is almost like a chameleon. It changes its forms to match the subject and the time. Chinese works very differently. Chinese verbs usually don't change form. Take the verb eat as an example. Yesterday, I ate ice cream. Today, I eat ice cream. Tomorrow, I will eat ice cream. In English, the verb changes. Eat, ate, will eat. But in Chinese, 昨天我吃了冰激凌，今天我吃了冰激凌，明天我还要吃冰激凌。The verb 吃 eat stays exactly the same. Time is usually shown by time words like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, sometimes together with particles such as le, which indicates that the action has been. For example, 她吃了 she has eaten. 她吃吗 does she eat? Is she eating? 她吃了吗 has she eaten? Here, the particle le helps indicate that the action is even though the verb itself never changes. So here comes an interesting question. If verbs don't change much in Chinese, how do people understand the full meaning of a sentence? The answer lies in sentence structure. On the surface, Chinese, English, and Spanish often follow the same subject, verb, object order, but the real difference is where the sentence places its focus. In Chinese and Spanish, sentence usually center around the person doing the action, so the subject almost always needed to be clearly stated. In Chinese, once the context is clear, the subject can often be omitted. That's why saying 今天爬山，明天露营 is perfectly natural in Chinese, even without I or we, where English usually requires we are hiking today and camping tomorrow. This is one of the real reasons learning another language can feel different. The challenge is not only learning new vocabulary, it's learning a different way of organizing information. Once you begin to notice how your native language influences the way you learn another language, many grammar patterns suddenly start to make much more sense. Learning a language is not just memorizing words, it's gradually getting used to a new way of expressing meaning. If you enjoy this kind of deep dive into how language actually work, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. I will see you in the next video.